Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. I am you. Today we will be discussing ADHD, and it's a very common and important question in education and psychology, and that is ADHD a learning disability? This question comes up frequently among teachers, parents, and even policymakers, especially when we are talking about inclusion, assessments, and learning support. Now, the short answer is no, but the full explanation is far more nuanced, and that's why what today's lecture is about. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand number one, how ADHD is defined, number two, how it differs from learning disabilities, number three, why ADHD still significantly affect learning, and last but not the least, what the latest research tells us about supporting learners with ADHD. Now, what is ADHD? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. According to the current diagnostic system, systems like DSM-5, TR, and ICD-11, ADHD is classified as a neurodevelopmental disorder. This means it affects how the brain develops and functions, particularly areas responsible for attention regulation, impulse control, working memory, and planning and organization. Now, ADHD typically presents in three forms. Number one, predominantly inattentive. Number two, predominantly hyperactive impulsive. And number three is the combination of all the two types, that is the combined type. The most important thing is that ADHD is not about intelligence or motivation. Many learners with ADHD are highly capable, but they struggle to regulate attention and behavior in structured learning environment. For example, in a classroom, it's a structured learning environment. Now, a student with ADHD, he or she has to struggle a lot. Now comes what is learning disability. We have discussed in my earlier lectures as well. Now, I'm doing it just to clarify between ADHD and learning disability. Now, learning disability, specific learning disability disorder involve persistent difficulties in acquiring specific academic skills, such as reading, which is dyslexia, writing, dysgraphia, mathematics, dyscalculia. Now, these difficulties are skill specific, persist despite appropriate instruction, and they are not explained by low intelligence, sensory impairments, or lack of opportunity. So, while ADHD affects how a student learns, learning disabilities affect what the student is able to learn in a particular academic area. Now, is ADHD a learning disability? The answer is no. ADHD is not classified as a learning disability. However, and this is crucial, ADHD strongly affects learning. That's why nowadays, when we are doing a research on learning disabilities or difficulties, ADHD is included in that. So there is where confusion often arises. A student with ADHD may know how to read but struggle to sustain attention while reading. He or she understands math concepts but make careless errors. Number three, you can say that they have strong ideas about difficulty organizing written work. Now, the problem is not lack of skill, but lack of regulation. Okay. So, what does the latest research say? Recent research from 2020 onwards highlights three key findings. First, high co occurrence. Around 30 to 50% of individuals with ADHD also have a learning disability. Now, this needs to be, highlighted, or this needs to be understood. That's why I said that nowadays, when we are doing a research on any specific learning disability, or if you're doing a specific learning disability, that's a different case. But if you're doing a research on three or five learning disabilities, then most of the times ADHD is included in that, because though not truly a learning disability, but a child or an adult, or you can say having ADHD, often suffers from different other, 30 to 50%, he or she also have a learning disability. Now, this means many students experience both conditions simultaneously. Secondly, shared cognitive challenges like executive functions like working memory, planning, and self monitoring are affected in ADHD. These executive skills are essential for academic success across subjects. Now, thirdly, ADHD can mimic learning disabilities. Poor attention can look like poor reading. Weak organization can look like weak writing, and inconsistent performance can be taken for low ability. So, this is why careful assessment is essential to avoid mislabeling students. Now, what are the educational and inclusive implications? From an educational perspective, the question should not be, is ADHD a learning disability, but rather, how does ADHD affect this learner's access to education? Now, in inclusive education systems, ADHD is often recognized under special education needs or disabilities. Students may qualify for accommodations even without a specific learning disability. The effect that can support include structured routines, clear instructions, chunking tasks, extra time, reduced distractions, and explicit teaching of executive skills. Now, importantly, inclusive assessment systems must ensure that ADHD does not mask true ability or unfairly limit opportunities. So let's summarize this. Now, it's today's lecture is just an overview of ADHD and whether it's a learning disability or not. In the next episode, we will be discussing more about ADHD and what kind of arrangements or accommodations we can give to the students in a structured environment, and how we can help students or children with ADHD. So, if we summarize today's lecture, we will see that ADHD is not a learning disability. Uh, Scientifically, yes, it is a neurodevelopmental condition. It significantly impacts learning. It often coexists with learning disabilities. Now, support should focus on functional needs and not labels. Okay. um, Understanding this distinction is going to help us. We can design better assessments, we can provide fair accommodations, and we can promote equity and inclusion in education. So, if you're a teacher, parent, or school leader, remember, students with ADHD don't need lower expectations, they need different pathways to success. If you found this lecture helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to follow up a video on ADHD versus dyslexia, or inshallah, we will be doing classroom strategies for ADHD or inclusive assessment practices in our next video about ADHD. Till then, Allah Hafiz, and see you next week, inshallah.